Overwatch is trash. It's a sentence that I find myself hearing a lot as of lately. There is still a somewhat active player base on the game, and the eSports is in a, let's say questionable state. But have the developers really killed off the game? Or is it just the placebo that comes with announcing a sequel to a first-person shooter? Today I'll be talking about my opinions on Overwatch, with concerns over the game's current presence. I feel like my opinion's actually worth something, being a person who has put well over 1,000 hours into the game, and has played since Season 3. Just a quick disclaimer before this video starts. If you like this game, that's fine. I still enjoy playing it with friends, but not as much as I once did. And also, this video is entirely my own opinion, and if your view differs from mine, then that's absolutely fine. This video is in no way made to harass Blizzard themselves. As we all know, without them, this game wouldn't be here, and this video wouldn't exist. I think I've gone on long enough, so let's start with the video. The first problem the game has had for a while now has been trying to find the spot where the casual player base can still be engaged, while the needs of the high-rank competitive esports scene are being met. Knowing what the pros want and knowing what the casuals want is a hard enough thing for any game developer, since they have so many suggestions being thrown their way. The second year for Overwatch is a big example of this. Mid-2017 saw the rework of Mercy and the abolishment of the 5-man res phenomenon. Mercy was a very broken character at the start of the game, with teamfights being lost unfairly and won by pure coincidence and timing. It saw Overwatch's first year contain utter chaos. The casual players loved being able to get their big players Mercy, but the competitive scene was stuck in this Mercy loop, with her game-shattering ability. As the first competitive seasons came to a close, it became very apparent that Mercy was a character that the pros could abuse to seemingly no extent, which inevitably led to a Mercy nerf. Now, nerfs and buffs are very common in a game like this, but this was a full-on rework, transforming Mercy's ultimate into an ability, and completely changing her value on the team forever. Casual fans who loved playing Mercy felt confused and angry that their favourite character had been effectively relegated to a less significant secondary healer, now being outshined by the Lucios and Annas. But it pushed the competitive scene that much more. It sparked life back into the comp scene that was already having declining live viewers and players in its first few months. The competitive response set a goal in Blizzard's heads: to listen to professionals and meet their needs over the casuals and new players. I think this was a bad decision. They could have kept the Mercy change exclusive to competitive play, and give the casuals the space they want to play, and provide the pros with the space they demand. But whether Blizzard dropped the ball or not on Mercy, it's completely irrelevant, because they did a 180. Brigitte was a new support that was added to expand the roster of healers. Her thing was that she was incredibly tanky. She was going to be someone capable of helping the tanks and providing a different method of healing for support mains. But in reality, she broke the game. For a year. If you were playing at this time, you know exactly what I'm on about. Goat. This character had a flail that dealt way too much damage, a stun in the form of a shield bash, a shield that had 600 hit points, which at the time was the same as a Winston shield, the ability to provide armor to teammates, which just enabled Zarya even more, and to top it all off, a ranged knockback. If you couldn't tell, she had way too many abilities for a support, and they were all broken. It enabled a meta that consisted of 3 tanks and 3 healers, that riddled the competitive scene for over a year. Goat killed the esport. Goat killed the publicity that the game had. Goat killed the fun. Goat just killed the game. And I would argue that the game hasn't even recovered since, and probably won't. The coming months saw seemingly endless nerfs to her kit, but the damage was done. You're probably thinking why I'm talking about the changes that occurred over 2 years ago, but it started the downfall of the game. All games reach their peak popularity and slowly die off, but Overwatch happened too early, all because of Brigitte. People couldn't play the game they wanted to because of this character. The second argument I would make kind of follows on from this in terms of explaining Overwatch's metaphorical death, as it comes from a lack of sufficient developer response. Basically, whether it's a problem made by the devs or not, They don't know how to fix it. They let GOAT reign supreme for over a year, they changed the way that shields and armor worked in an effort to slow down its momentum. They also nerfed a couple healers in there to try and restore the game a little bit. But then they made the poor choice of enforcing a 2-2-2 system for competitive queue in September 2019. They didn't know how to resolve the problem that they spawned. Sure, they didn't add GOAT, they added Brigitte, but you get what I mean. This just made people more toxic in the game in general, making everything a competition in some sense, to be a better tank than the next, or a better healer than the next, which extended even to casual gameplay. I don't think role queue was a good idea, and I personally would have just removed Brigitte from the game, instead of reworking shield and armor, two previously established mechanics that are fundamental to the game. Just as nobody wanted to play against Brigitte, nobody wanted to be confined to a single role. Flex players were no longer a thing, not in the way that they used to be anyway, and the problem only continued to get worse from here, when the shield nerf happened. In November 2019, the devs made the decision to nerf Sigma's, Orissa's and Reinhardt's shield, from 1500 to 700, 900 to 600, and 2000 to 1600 respectively. In a similar fashion to the Mercy nerf that occurred 2 years prior, this was demanded by the pros, since the double shield meta was the norm after GOAT. The pros got what they asked for, but just after the role queue that wiped out flex players, there was now this massive tank nerf that gradually saw many players shifting away from the tank role in casual play, which also further increased queue times, one of the additional goals of the role queue system by the way. I understand that with every decision the developers make on a daily basis, there are inevitably going to be people who disagree. But fast forward a year, it's September 2020. Major changes to the game now are far and few. The game's current state will most likely be its resting state, as Overwatch 2 looms over the horizon. This leads me to my final argument for this video about Overwatch's death. The game is too toxic. If you didn't see this one coming, then I don't know what to tell you. The only people left playing the game are the people who have sat through countless nerfs and game changes, just continuing to play the people they enjoy in the game. Toxicity has always been a problem in this game, but I would argue that it's currently in its worst state, and it will stay like this for the rest of its lifespan. After going through many major gameplay changes, there's of course a very split community, with some favouring role queue and some favouring comp. And outside of the people that infrequently play the game to revisit friends, there remains only people who think they know the secrets to winning, and try to enforce their methodology on everyone else. If this is you, then please, for the sake of this game, try to relax. It's just a game, on a competitive level or not. Additionally, the game is filled with Smurf accounts, which can only encourage the problem of toxicity, because people choose to not play at their given rank for whatever reason. Smurfs disrupt the natural flow of a competitive environment, de-ranking and therefore demotivating hard-working players who are grinding with their teams, while also boosting others, elevating them to a rank well above their skill capacity, which makes any attempts trying to establish successful HMMR-based matchmaking futile. To conclude, do I think Overwatch is dying? No. I think it's past that. The game's eSports relevancy has been declining for well over a year, and the player base has been fluctuating with every major patch. Now that we most likely see ourselves in the final major patch, or coming close to it, I believe the game is entering its final seasons. I don't hate Overwatch at all, and I still play it with friends a lot, but the game's had a rough life cycle, and I kinda feel bad for the community as a whole. Anyway, my name is Flinny, and this has been a short review and evaluation of the life cycle of Overwatch. This video has been a little different, so I thank anyone for watching this video. Also, feel free to like and subscribe, and drop a comment on your thoughts on the current state of Overwatch. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned.